Hi folks.
Hi folks.
Mike and Tamara here with you today in Nacoochee, Georgia, in the Nacoochee Valley. There have been settlers living here since the 1820s, and before that, the Cherokee and the Creek lived here, and even before them, the Mississippian people lived in this area. We're at the United Methodist Church at the cemetery. Of course, it's not unusual to find very old cemeteries in North Georgia. It was one of the 13 original colonies of the United States. So there are burials here going back a long, long way. This is a beautiful valley, is it not, Tammy?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, if
Very
there
pretty.
are worse places a person could be buried than here. Right at the foothills of the Appalachians. Check out this old tree. Looks like someone has cut the ivy, Tammy, to try to preserve the tree. So it looks like someone chopped it off right about here to save this old beautiful tree. I think it's interesting how most of the women that you see buried here in these historic times, they're associated, it's the wife of whoever they are. It's not about them as much individually as about who they were as a wife. Here's one that's toppled down. Birdie. Let's head on back toward the back and the woods, where it really gets interesting. There's one that's turned over. There's a lot of stones here. I guess when they get to a certain age, but here's one where it looks like it broke into 3 separate pieces and they just stacked against each other, and it even looks like, no, it's just they're stacked against each other. Been there so long they look like one piece of stone. This is about as pretty a little cemetery as I've seen here in North Georgia. At the location here in the mountains, oh my goodness. Look at the rolling hills back there leading up to the Appalachian Mountains. Man, this is a peaceful and beautiful place. Tammy just pointed out the ant hills. This is not the first time we've explored a cemetery and run into big ant hills. Ant hills seem to be common in North Georgia cemeteries. Not a whole lot of activity in these. Not here as cold as it's been lately. Modern part of the cemetery is over that hill. They still inter people here, but this goes back a long, long way. Now we're getting to another one of the interesting aspects of this cemetery. These particular crosses are for the slaves of the settlers who arrived here in the early part of the 19th century. Were buried in unmarked graves back then. It's almost certainly the case that we still don't know exactly how many people are buried here. There's no telling how many people are actually buried in the cemetery. It's really sad, but there's an overwhelming sadness just looking at these unmarked. These are people. Behind me is probably the most famous marker memorial in this cemetery. This is the marker of a slave that lived here in the late 1800s. Of course, this is a later memorial that was put up way after his time, but it's not just to signify him, it's also to signify all the other people that were buried here in unmarked graves. And as you see here, as the cemetery splits off from the regular Methodist part of the cemetery and extends back into the woods, look, Tammy, at all these unmarked graves of slaves. It is very sad. It makes you want to cry. Good grief. It just keeps going back. Really brings it home, doesn't it? All these people. This is a beautiful location, is it not, Tam?
It is.
Thanks for joining us here at the Nacoochee Historic Cemetery. Until the next time, this is Mike and Tam saying bye.